Welcome to Circular Strategies, where we talk to those inspired to lead, drive, and innovate in our circular economy, where we will discuss a wide array of the opportunities inherent to this developing process, where we'll discuss challenges and with the entrepreneurs solving those complex problems. Today, we are very fortunate to have just such a leader. We welcome Nick Muschong, Chief Revenue Officer of Shapiro. Not only is Nick a staunch advocate of sustainability and circular solutions, he is engaged on the front lines. Today's conversation should be both stimulating and informative. Welcome, Nick. Nick, why don't you tell the audience and us a little bit more about yourself, your company, and why this is important to you?
Yeah, so my name's Nick Muschong. Been in industry for 15 years, kind of from the foundry side of copper. Got into aluminum about 5 years ago at Shapiro. And the thought of working for Shapiro and understanding the out of the box thinking and the way we look at service and data and all of our strategy kind of really made me excited about joining. And a little bit about Shapiro. Shapiro is about a 120-year-old company, and it's industrial aluminum scrap for the most part. But what we like to explain to people is that we're basically a startup that kind of drives us. Our outside, we've always thought outside the box, but it really does bring it home when we're able to bring what we like to do and love to do in circularity with data and just solutions, just being all in one for the customer.
That's a pretty novel concept. What are the kind of the top three things that kind of make Shapiro a startup today, even though it's 120 years old?
That's a great question. One is really looking at every item in the alley, as we call it, or, plastics, woods. We don't even talk about metal that much anymore. We're talking about helping our customer with other items than just metal, which is really exciting. Two, data. I mean, data is going to be the forefront in this industry. To really bring circularity home is really going to be about data and how we can provide it to our customers, how they want it, and things they don't even know about yet, which is really cool. And the last is for me is customer or service. You're really on the cutting edge of understanding what lanes, where we like to go with the metal. We also have connecting our customers to the end user. That's kind of different approach than we've ever really thought about before. So we actually take the customer through us, and we have them talk to the mills or the producing of their metals to get it back into circularity. It's really what we love doing. What
inspired Shapiro to make this transformation, do you think?
Yes. Well, first of all, I think because we have that 115, 110 years of just being really industry leaders in scrap, people were coming to us and asking us to help them with solutions that we might not have been able to, that most companies would have just said, no, that's not what we do. We're just metal companies. And I think what it's done is give us some opportunities, because we never say no, to figure it out for them. And it's just been, an exciting journey to see how our customers have brought us in more than ever to help them out. And that's really what we keep just doing, year after year. And we're just growing.
Well, it's interesting that you're able to engage with trying something outside your comfort zone. And why do you think that matters to Shapiro? Why do you think that those experiments were important?
Yeah. Well, it comes from leadership and from the owner and down, is that the idea of trying something, even if it's not going to work the first time, or to figure something out for our customers is really important. So we never say no. You've got plastic, we've got wood that needs to be chipped up, we've got a customer that's looking to get fibers, back into circularity or back into waste to energy, not into the landfill. And it's just one of those things that we just never say no. And some things work, some things don't, but we have a mindset of just always trying to get it right. And that's really key.
It sounds like maybe some of the old ways weren't exactly working the way the customers would have, where they really needed help. Based on what Shapiro's been doing, in what ways have you been able to help your clients?
Well, we've got a few different exciting things that we've done that I've been a part of. One is, taking metal that usually went to another scrap mill that was particularly not going to the right place. We got into the room together, and we've been able to get those companies together to create a circular program. But once we showed them that we could do metal, then we've got opportunities to do plastics and rubber and fibers and all different kinds of things. It just opens a door for circularity. Like the most exciting thing that I've been a part of is that, we're taking material that was going into the landfill, not only giving the customer less landfill, zero landfill, but we're actually being able to pay the customer. And then when the customer likes that, they like that, we're actually seeing that they're doing more and more. They're separating plastics. It started with metal. Now it's plastic. Now they call this and then do wood. And it's just really exciting to go through the whole kind of, they're not metal to wood to plastic. It's really cool. The commodities, basically, the stuff in the alley.
I think it's interesting that all of those issues have existed in the alley for a long time. Why do you think it's important now to them to start addressing it? Where is the impetus coming from?
But basically what it is just ESG, being better for the environment, being better stewards for the globe, and our customer now cares. And I think that is something that's really changed, is that their customer to our customer really cares about what this material, where the material is going and what's being done with it.
As a leader at Shapiro, how has this affected your strategy and your business models?
Yeah, so that's really good. So we've got, what's really interesting about it is that you've got the old school, right? You've got the old school mindset that we don't have that many, but we do. But we're not only, I'm never talking about metal ever again. I don't talk about metal. I come in and I say, how can I help with any category, with any commodity, any problem that you have? And we kind of get our foot in the door that way. Instead of just giving by a price sheet, we're going and out and talking to our customers, finding out what they need help with, is a really, really an eye opener and a door opener for us. The mindset shifts, though, and at Shapiro, is that it's not a one for one. A customer might care about plastic. A customer might care about the metal being circular, back in the circular program. They're caring about wood. It's just you have to come in with a open mind and ask a bunch more questions than it used to be, which is exciting for me. And Shapiro lets us be that way, or, lets us kind of thrive in how can we help? And that's really how we look at business.
That strategic partnership approach that you're talking about has been talked about for a long time in a lot of different industries. How has it changed how your team works with the client? How does your team work with the clients with that kind of mindset?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that, because it's ever changing. It's not only just talking. You used to be able to call the purchasing agent or the person that sold the metal, and you'd have a deal. Now you have to talk to the operations. You have to talk to the maintenance people. You have to talk to like I said, operations. You've got to talk. Sometimes you have to go all the way to CFO to get this business. So it's kind of a different mindset. You just don't go to one spot. So we're learning where to go in different divisions or different companies on how to sell to the right people that are in charge of whatever commodity we're trying to buy. It's a really interesting concept. It's really hard to teach. You have to basically just be able to be a person that wants to unravel things and ask questions and just kind of be like a bird dog. You just got to find it. So it's really interesting change.
It is really interesting, Nick. I mean, I think, from my vantage point, often what we see is in business to business kind of transactions, there are a lot of different interests and a lot of different people making decisions. Have you seen things like that? And is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. So we're finding that what we're looking at is now, when we used to just work with commercial or purchasing people to buy or sell the metal, now we're seeing that engineering is coming in. We're seeing, the engineers are kind of driving driving the car right now. And it puts a little stress on the business on our end and on their end, is because you've got whoever used to be able to handle the units in purchasing or operations. Now we're seeing engineering or ESG or, in more control of the units. And that is totally different than we've ever seen. So it's a really interesting part that you have to understand, that you're talking to many different people throughout the organization that have many different goals. And what we're trying to do now is to bring them all together in the room at one time, so we can kind of go through everyone's goals.
Very good. Those are some surprising things to learn about how to engage with this marketplace. Are there any other surprising things that have occurred on this journey so far?
Yeah, there's a few. One is the idea of what everyone really wants. ESG is a wonderful, circularity is a wonderful idea until it costs people. So I think that people love the idea of circularity, of doing right by the world, until it costs them. So it'll be interesting on who cuts that cost at the end.
Does it surprise them sometimes that the savings are also there?
Yeah. So savings, there are people that are, we're not even looking at, we're coming to them and saying, you can make money or not you don't cost the company sending material to the landfill, or we're going to provide value to things that they've never seen before. I mean, it's an interesting thing. And I don't think a lot of people think about that when you're dealing with it. It's really hard to change their mindset, because they just think it's garbage or trash. And it's just an interesting thing that we've seen, and how it impacts their thoughts on how they deal with Shapiro.
Yeah, one of the things that surprises me is just how significant the change management and the people side of this is. And that's got to be a real challenge for a commercial team.
Yeah.
Have you seen that issue? Do our customers struggle with this
Yeah,
as
they
well?
do. Yeah, that's what was going to be my third point, was that, change management is now happening. So it's if it was 3 months in the past, it's now double or triple. People are really reluctant to change. People are really not reluctant. They just don't have the time or the manpower to get these things done. It's just one of those things where, we're just seeing, we're talking to a guy we're talking to a company that wants to change with us, and it's taken 4 months just to get a meeting with him once he accepted the prices months ago to sign the contract. So we're just seeing that changes are really taking a long time. And it's really hard for us as sales guys or commercial side, because you want to get things done and you want to tell your organization, look at what we've done. We've accomplished these things. And it's just such a longer time right now. Now, I think that's a good thing too, because I think they'll be more loyal, and it'll be, once you do get in, it'll be really hard for them to change unless we drop the ball. If you provide good service, you provide good data, you provide, all the things that Shapiro does, I think they'll be loyal. So it's really hard to get the sales guys to understand that change takes a long time. And that's why we really developed a pipeline of new customers to try to move that process, faster.
Very interesting. I got to ask you, what is it like to lead a commercial team whose purpose is to make the planet better together? What has that done to not just your leadership, but what does it require from your team?
Well, the concept of making the planet better together is an incredible one. So, Shapiro has come up with that for 2 years ago, and we brought it out. We've rolled it out to the team, and a lot of people have bought into it. And it's an awesome concept. It's really tough sometimes to be able to communicate that out to our sales team and to understand where we're going, because it's just not metal, and it's about, maybe we're not going to take 10,000 pounds in Colorado. We're going to have partner with someone to do that, because it's the home should be in Colorado or in Denver, not in St. Louis or not in Denton. And it's really hard for that concept to take place when you are battling numbers and you want to succeed and you want to make sales. It's just developing these guys, our sales team, and the commercial team, into understanding that partners will help not in the short term for them, but once we get in there and we can provide a service, we actually can grow it organically and just have a tremendous growth, and they will make more money by doing the smarter, better things for the world, for Earth. And that's how we're looking at it.
It sounds a little bit like the long-term strategy, the long-term approach creates some short-term pain for the team. Given what your team is encountering and some of the issues with customer time that you talked about earlier, in your opinion, what do you think the biggest impediment is to this important transition to the circular economy? Where are the impediments in the marketplace that you and your team are encountering, or what we're encountering internally?
Sure. The one thing about what we're seeing is that not all commodities or not all plastics are recyclable right now. Not all wood is recyclable, or there's a little bit more processing that needs to be done. So there's capital improvements that need to be done from Shapiro, just the industry. That takes a lot of money. But not only does it take a lot of money, and it takes a lot of courage to do so, the science, I think, is there to recycle plastics, let's say. But how does our customer separate it the right way? understand the value of separating it the right way. Because if you're putting one of the PETs together that isn't the right one, a pound can affect the whole load, and it be basically worth nothing. So it's one of those things is to explain the value of the material. It's just like metal, it's like we started sorting on, to upgrade, and we're basically going to have to teach that on plastic, on wood. We're going to have to process it differently. And we're seeing that in operations at Shapiro or at sales, operations, accounting. What do we call this? What do we call that? Why are we holding this material for another 10 days instead of just circulate, just getting rid of it, sending it to maybe a place that isn't the right home for it? You might have to sit on material a little bit more, and it's just about communicating up and down the channels about this is value, this is why we're doing it. And if you do it the correct way, it'll really work out for both Shapiro and a customer.
I'm going to bounce a question off of you. And that is, I've been considering for a while now that if the customer's truly biggest challenge is not just what to do about some of the things that they haven't ever dealt with, whether it's the carbon fiber or the textiles or the wood that you referred to earlier, but truthfully, it's the change management inside their operation, how to train them to segregate, why it's important to segregate. Do you think that change management needs to be incorporated into the sales process as an optional tool for the companies to partner on and help them with their change?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Do you think that would be interesting?
Yeah, I think that, I think it's a great concept of basically helping them along the way and taking on responsibility off of their plate to help with change. I think is needed, because a lot of customers don't have the time to go out in the back and check at what they have. They only have their receipt for landfill or their shipping numbers. And maybe we could come into it and really truly break it down where we can do it. It's almost like a consulting model where you're coming in and you're helping with the change management. If we're truly partners and helping them with being a partner, they're going to we can help them take some of the burden off their plate and help them, show them how to get things done. I think would really be a worthwhile bet.
A couple more questions. This next one is, what do you want people to know about Shapiro?
Yeah, Shapiro, first of all, is a wonderful place to work. People are trusted. People are valued. You can be authentic at Shapiro. I mean, they hired me. I mean, I'm probably the most authentic human you're going to get, I think, or most unoriginal, original. But what I think about Shapiro is that, the ideas that keep flowing from up top to bottom, and that we all care, we're all in the same boat together, really brings something that most companies don't have. We really care about everyone that works at Shapiro and our customers, and making the planet better together. I mean, really, that's where we're at. I mean, we really care. Now we'll follow the solution, and we're going to be truly transparent. We're going to say, hey, this might not be value now, but it'll be value later, and we're going to figure it out together. And that's really what we're trying to do, is be partners, not just a customer or a vendor.
Very good. So, Nick, what's next for you, your team, and Shapiro over the next 12 months? What can we expect?
Well, in the next 12 months, we're really working on a sustainability dashboard that really gives our customer a back end numbers for their ESG scores. We're looking at that. We're looking at ways to recycle carbon fiber. We're looking at ways that we can wood chip. We're looking at ways to basically break down equipment so that we could get the metals back into a circular program for our customers. What we're going to try to do is grow our team and turn them into more of a consultant way of sales, where they're helping, they're asking questions. They're just not looking for one item. We're looking to think outside the box. And lastly is data. If we don't have the data to give our customers, or give the relevant data back to our customers that our customers need, we'll be lost, and it'll be a situation where we won't recover from. We have to improve data, meaning just having our customers on the same page of what we're doing with their metal or other commodities.
Very good. Nick, I'll give you any last words. Is there any words of wisdom you would share with us about the circular economy as we close?
Yeah. And I want to say thanks again for having me. I think people are very scared of the circular economy because they don't believe it's coming. I just want to give you a story. 2 years ago, with one of our biggest customers, the commercial side of the business was very unhappy that we were talking to another arm of the engineers from that side of the company. And then they brought the commercial people into it after the engineers. And the commercial people were very upset that they weren't involved in the beginning. And it was about recycling. It was about a circular program. 2 years ago, that person that we were dealing with on the commercial side was really upset, couldn't believe it, and said it would never happen. As of a couple of weeks ago, which is, maybe a year and a half, we're now talking circularity with our customer, with the commercial person, and she's leading the charge on how to sell Shapiro to the rest of the company. It's a really exciting thing, and it just comes so quick. And I just want everyone to know it's not coming in 10 years. It's not coming in 5. It's coming, and it's coming faster than we think it can be. And if you're not doing it, if you're not having those conversations with customers, you're going to be on the outside looking in. And that's what I keep trying to explain to Shapiro and to our customers. And it's one of those interesting dilemmas. And I'm really excited about what the future is going to bring with circularity. I really am. And I'm here for it. So let's check in a few years and see where we're at. It'll be very exciting.
Well, thank you for being part of this podcast. Great closing comments. Thank you for your time, Nick.